In this video, we're going to be covering three things. The first thing is Daniel Sheehan's statements in a recent interview. Daniel Sheehan is a lawyer who has represented Dr. Stephen Greer and Luis Elizondo, and he's very much involved in the UAP community. In fact, I covered part of his statements yesterday in another video. I'll put a link in the description. So what did he say? He said that 40 first-hand UFO whistleblowers are going to be going public in 2024. So we're going to find out what exactly does that mean. And 40 in 1 year, this year? And the second thing we're going to be covering is statements he made about an alien interview video. What do I mean? I mean an actual video of an alien entity being interviewed telepathically by our government that he says exists. Now, he said that before in another interview, but in this interview, he said something different about it, and I found that interesting. So we're going to take a look at that. And the third thing is the New Paradigm Institute that Daniel Sheehan founded and currently runs is now offering a degree program or certificates or something like that. We're going to dive in and find out exactly what that means. But basically, like the first of its kind in the world that like you can get a degree in ET studies, you know, like ET, aliens, UFOs, like a degree in UFOs, basically. Like, that's interesting. So we're going to dive into that, what university is backing that up, and what you think of it, and who are the people giving the courses, and what do they mean, how much they cost, what's it about. We're going to dive into all of that. So stick around, and let's dive into this video. If you're new to the channel and you like content like this, please hit the subscribe button, y'all. We're trying to get to 10,000, and we're so close. So thank y'all so much for the support, and to all the new vetters out there, welcome. Again, we put out a new video every day, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, so hit that subscribe button. All right, y'all, and of course, hit that like button. It really helps out the videos, so thank y'all so much for the support doing that. And of course, comment down below what you think about this, right? This degree program in ET studies, this alien interview video, and why is he saying it differently a little bit now about what he's talking about, right? And 40 first-hand UFO whistleblowers coming out. 40. Okay, we haven't had one, and we're about to have 40. That's crazy. Like, I mean, is catastrophic disclosure, like that's what's coming? So yeah, we're gonna dive in exactly what that means, and going public, coming forward. Like, what does that mean? And kind of theorize on what do they mean by firsthand, right? Is it what you think and I think? I don't know. Let's find out. So anyway, let's dive in, y'all. First clip, got it lined up. Again, this is going to be about the 40 first-hand UFO whistleblowers. So let's find out what he means.
As far as you're concerned, or as far as you're aware, how many first-hand whistleblowers are going to be coming forward or going public in 2024 this year?
40.
You think they're all going to go public this year?
Well, they've already presented their information in sworn form to the Senate Intelligence Committee. They've got documented proof behind what they've got, what they've said. There's a process going on right now between the Senate Intelligence Committee and the House Oversight Committee as to where, in which of the two houses they ought to come forward, what kind of hearings need to be coordinated between the two different houses of Congress so that they share equally a democratically controlled Senate and a Republican controlled House to kind of facilitate choreographing the coming forward with this information. And all of this is being choreographed in such a way that it's mounting pressure on those who have been resisting the 64-page bill. This sets up a controlled disclosure plan. You know, that's what the bill does. You know, but if they're not going to come on board with this kind of a systematic controlled disclosure process, then it's going to have to be done in this other way of just letting one after another of these 40 inside sources reveal their information in hearings. Until those who are resisting the controlled disclosure plan, you know, come on board. At which point, then they'll set up that 9-person board that'll start reviewing the information and are going to be much more inclined to release more information. So that's the dynamic that's going on right now.
Yeah. Wow. So you think they would go public via the hearings rather than like as Grush did going forward, like you know, in the media and then the hearing coming second?
Well, you need to understand that stuff is all choreographed. You know,
you know,
for example, coming forward talking to Ross Coulthard, you know, was very much connected to the planning to get coming forward in the hearing. So there's a
okay.
kind of a conscious coordination going on here, how to do this in the most effective way.
Okay, but you think we will hear from them in this year?
I
these
do.
40 whistleblowers. Wow, I can't wait for that as well. Are you representing any of them? Can you tell us if you're representing? You don't have to obviously name names, but
I'm not at liberty to discuss that right now. But our new paradigminstitute.org is involved in being available to represent a number of these whistleblowers.
Okay. Would you be able to answer in a yes or no fashion whether you are representing anybody who has first-hand knowledge that would corroborate David Grush's claims?
Am I able to talk about it? No, I'm not able to talk.
Are you able to just confirm a yes or no if you're able to represent?
No, I'm not able to do either one.
Got you. No worries. Will this, in terms of disclosure, again, a big topic that we could talk about for ages, but just in a really quick answer, will the slow drip disclosure continue as you've suggested, or do you think we will have this kind of paradigm shifting moment, this catastrophic disclosure that people have talked about? How is it going to go down? Yeah, is it going to be this kind of slow tick that keeps going, or is it going to be boom? One day we wake up and holy crap, like it's all over. Every.
Well, he just said 40 first-hand whistleblowers are coming forward.
Is
no, it's the former. I think that that we're going to be rolling in these each one of these 40 eyewitnesses and firsthand information people, putting them forward into the House and Senate hearings, public hearings and private closed door hearings, in an attempt to put pressure on the opponents of the disclosure process, so that this existential process that's going on may well reach a point where the other side, people like Michael Turner, the head of the House Intelligence Committee, and Michael Rogers, who is the head of the House Armed Services Committee, will relent, and they'll say, okay, look, let's set up the kind of controlled disclosure program, which is planned to unfold this information over a 7-year period. I mean, that was the original 64-page bill. So that there's what they perceive as, quote, catastrophic disclosure is what has to start kind of happening step by step, to put pressure on them to be willing to have the controlled disclosure. So that both of these things are going on simultaneously. And as strange as it sounds, I would hope that the Controlled Disclosure Act will getting passed the full act and set up the board, and that we'll be able to deal with this in a very professional way. And then we'll be able to see how quickly this is being absorbed by the people, and what the impact is on the world, geopolitical relations with other nation states, et cetera. And so that the bottom line is this process is underway right now. And so that all of those questions that have been asked for so long are now getting answered in practice, to figure out how rapidly this is going to come forward and how quickly it's going to be digested by the institutions and culture.
So, real quick, I do find it interesting that, first of all, what do y'all think of that? Second of all, he calls them witnesses, right? 40 first-hand whistleblower witnesses, right? So witnesses to the craft, witnesses to pieces of a craft, but they're not sure what it is, right? Witnesses to bodies, witnesses to crash sites that can confirm our crash sites, right? Like witnesses to the being coming in and out of a dimension or portal or an entity, telepathic communication, like, I don't know. And they have documented proof. So what does that mean? So they're going to have this panel again. I don't know. I find this fascinating for sure. I mean, look, do I want to see all those people come out? Absolutely. 100%. And it was interesting the way that they said that he talked about David Grush and how that's all a coordinated effort, right, with Raw and all of that. So, which means all of the interviews he did have been coordinated, right, specifically curated for a particular narrative. You can look at that negatively or positively. I don't know. I guess that's up to you. Again, I've kind of questioned that on this channel before, which is like, well, who's controlling that narrative? Because clearly, it's not our government. It's people that have decided to come out, right? Like David Grush and other people behind the scenes who are deciding for us. They're deciding for us. There's no voting there's no democratic process to this in any way, shape, or form. But I guess they feel, well, we're taking up the fight, so we'll decide how we're going to do it. All right. I mean, there's something to be said about that too, right? But just to play devil's advocate, well, this is like the greatest discovery in the history of mankind, right? So, I don't know. I just don't know. I just have a problem with people sort of deciding this for us, right? I don't know. I mean, there's so much to it, right? How does Daniel Sheehan know a lot of this stuff? Because he says a lot of stuff, y'all. He says so much. It's just impossible to cover all of his claims. Again, in the description, I'll put a link to different videos I've made about him and different stuff he said. It's out there, for me, anyway. Again, I'm not saying it's not true. I'm just saying, I don't know. Again, there's no evidence or anything. So really a lot of the stuff, you just have to take people's word. And that's fine up to a point, right? For sure. Like, I don't know, right? Hey, man, what's your favorite football team? And someone tells you, I'm not going to question it. Like, why would they lie to me about who their favorite team is? And even if they did, I don't care. But now we're talking about this kind of stuff. Again, the greatest mystery in mankind. So, like, or one of anyway, right? It's, I don't know. Again, just this, the controlled disclosure from them, catastrophic disclosure, slow drip. I don't know. Just like, but to hear that all 40 are going to come out this year, you know what? That's actually good news in a lot of ways. Because think about it. They could be like, well, over the next 5 years, 40 whistleblowers are going to come out. Again, I'm not saying these 40 are going to come out, but that's what Daniel Sheehan is saying. Right. And he is representing Luis Elizondo. He clearly has had connections to Grush, and he knows about all that and the coordinated effort that they put, that Grush specifically chose every interview for a reason. And again, if you remember, again, I'll put a link in the description to the leaked presentation of David Grush that he gave, where on there you see the list of interviews, right, as part of their controlled narrative out. And again, that can be fishy or not to you. I can see kind of pros and cons to both sides, to be honest with you. I can see the flip of both. But anyway, let's jump to the next clip, y'all. You guys tell me in the comments what you think. I'm very curious to hear what y'all think about this. And do you think that's possible? I mean, 40 sounds, I'll be honest, I don't see that happening, but it could. Maybe just 10, I mean, if even just a small percentage of that came forward, that would be pretty great, to be honest. And if 40 come out, let's get them all in a room together and have them talk. Like, let's get a bunch of interviews where they're together. That's what I want to see. More people talking together. You know, that's what I would like to see. So anyway, let's jump to the next clip, y'all. Again, this is Daniel Sheehan speaking about a video of an alien interview. Now listen carefully. So this is his most recent comments. After this, I'm going to play you what he said previously about it, and tell me if you hear the difference.
You've also mentioned, I think, that there is a genuine video of an interview with a non-human being or extraterrestrial being. So how confident are you that that is true, and why are you so confident, and where did you get the info of that?
I got called by a man who was in Project Blue Book, and he was dying. He was actually literally dying. He was in hospice, and I flew to see him. Went in to meet with him, and he was sitting with all the tubes in him, and he's just kind of at death's door. And he decided it was time to talk about what he knew. And he started sharing with me the details of the internal workings of Project Blue Book, gave me the name of his commanding officers and the people that were field investigators, et cetera, with him, you know, where he was based and all of that, all of which I was able to confirm was true. And then he told me about his commander after he had spent years being in Project Blue Book and got to be the kind of part of the fixtures there at Project Blue Book, dealing with those cases which Project Blue Book could not explain away, even though they had characterized all kinds of very real sightings as, you know, swamp gas or mistaken birds or mistaking Venus as, you know, but there were over 700 of these cases where they were absolutely unable to deny the fact that dozens of people had seen them, that there were photographs of them, etc. He was in that group. And his commander, finally, years into the program, brought this man with him to S4 out by Area 51. And he described the details of what the place was like, which was confirmed by lots of other information I knew, and that he was actually brought down into a facility at S4 where there was a live ET, EB, the extra biological specimen. And it was, yeah, an entity. It was like 6 feet tall, very benign, but it was in this room and this guy was afraid of him. He said, I thought he was like demonic. Well, it turns out that this guy was a real fundamentalist Christian, and thought that this was completely unacceptable. Didn't want to go near him, but he could see him through this double mirror and his commander went in and was having telepathic engagement with this being. And this other fellow stayed outside, but he had military personnel that were there, and that they showed him these 3.5 by 5 index cards that they had taken notes from telepathic interviews with this particular being. And so I was convinced that, it's absolutely impossible to think that they're going to be conducting telepathic interviews with this being and they don't film them. I mean, that's just not going to happen. And it wasn't that this man said, oh, yes, and I saw the people filming him. That he didn't say that. But I knew positively that with his commander right there having a face-to-face encounter with this being, and the fact that they had records of his extensive interviews in the cards, that they had to have a film of this. That's what I said, actually, when people asked me about it. Interestingly, this man was allowed to read through the index cards because he wouldn't go into the room with it. He stayed outside. And so they said, here are some of the cards of the things he's been saying. And one of the things that the being was saying is that he was part of a group that had been put together, and there were beings from different star systems that were all part of this same organization, and that they were tasked to be going around inside our galaxy to where planets had generated life, to try to get an evaluation of what stage they were at, how they were doing, etc. And the interviewers, at least per what was said in the cards, had said, well, who is it that's in charge of this project that you're talking about? And he said, well, it's like what you people would tend to think of as God, but it's a lot different. That's what he said. And then this guy, because he was such a fundamentalist, he said, I wasn't going to tell anybody about that because I didn't believe him. I thought he was demonic and I thought he was lying about it. And so I never reported it to anybody. But he wanted to tell me this on his deathbed. And so that's why I said that, that I'm convinced that there has to be film footage of the interviews with this being.
So a few things. One, that's not what he said originally. Two, why would you need to even go into this room with the being if you can have a telepathic conversation? You know what I mean? Why do you even need to risk going in there and the being doing something to you? You could just be outside. Right? Like, this doesn't make sense. And they're writing the interview down on note cards. And again, he's saying, well, I'm assuming they're going to film this. Now, granted, I would probably assume that too. So I get Daniel Sheehan's point there. Why wouldn't you film that? But again, why would you go into the room and take that risk with this entity that could be demonic, could be a being? What makes you think that what he's telling you is true? Right? I mean, he's technically a prisoner of war, or just a prisoner, right? This being is being held against his will. So I mean, you know what I mean? So we just believe everything he says? I don't know. And I guess the other guy's saying, oh, I thought he was lying. That sounds believable. But again, you know, this is so odd. Like, the guy didn't want to tell anybody, but he decided to tell Daniel Sheehan on his deathbed? So I don't know. So anyway, let's take a look at the clip where he says what he said before about this alien interview. Remember, in this interview, he's saying, I've only just said I think it's probably exists, right? Never said it did. I'm just saying I assumed it did. And the guy never said, and he said, the guy never said, you know, oh, they were there filming, right? Remember that specifically too, right? Remember he said that. Like, the guy never said they were filming. I just assume if you're going to do telepathic interviews with an alien, you're going to want to film it. All right, so that's Daniel Sheehan's connect. And again, I can understand that. And he's saying, I never said anything else other than that. Well, that's not true. And he didn't say it that long ago. I mean, it was this month, earlier this month, and I covered it in this video. So let's watch where Daniel Sheehan's previous comments, again, just a month ago, not even, earlier this month.
There's going to be a video of an actual interview of an actual extraterrestrial being.
You know this?
Yes.
There's going to be a video of an extraterrestrial being. And the host of this show, Clint, says, pardon the horrible pause there on his face. Sorry, Clint. He says, and you know this, yes. Tell me that doesn't sound different from his comments he just made recently. Again, this is a month apart, y'all. Let's let him continue.
You know, so I mean, I know that exists, and that's.
I know that exists. Am I confused? Am I looking at this wrong? Please tell me in the comments if I've got this confused. But those are two completely different statements from Daniel Sheehan. And again, in the recent one, he says, not only did he make a different statement, he denied ever making the other statement, which is right here. So I don't know. Find that odd.
Part of the crown jewels that they're not going to want to reveal.
But that's on the table to come out.
Well, what I'm saying is that I talked to the person who was there.
I talked to the person who was there. So this is the person he's describing, right, in the other clip where he's saying, right, the Blue Book guy on the deathbed, that's this guy, right?
And that they've got this on film. And so that if you...
I talked to the guy and they've got this on film. Again, in the other clip, he specifically says, the guy didn't tell me that they were filming or anything. So what are we talking about here?
Really going to get down, when you say we get to the nut of the whole thing, that's the kind of thing that once it's shown to the American public, there's, you know, Katie bar the door. You know, there's nothing that can be denied anymore. You know, and up until now, even though you have David Grush, who's, you know, the person from the National Reconnaissance Office.
Why does he call him Grush? David Grush. Does he not know his name is Grush? That's interesting.
Assigned to the UFO task force inside the Office of Naval Intelligence, comes forward under oath and testifies to a House committee, all on video, you know, and it only sinks into with about 2 to 3 or 4% of the people in the country because they're off doing something else. So the question is, how specific does it have to get? How graphic does the information have to be? You know, you always hear about, oh, why don't they land on the White House lawn? Or why don't they land in Central Park? You know, like Keanu Reeves did. You know, why don't they do that? You know, but the bottom line is that what we're trying to do is provide a deeper and deeper revelation of the information, so that more and more people can have the aha moment. They'll say, okay, good, now I know it's true.
Going back to...
So anyway, a little PIP here for you, Patrick and Patrick. For a second there, I forgot that there was another me there watching that. So there was two of us, like, so weird. Sorry, y'all had to have double of my my ugly face there. Anyway, am I crazy, or is that not two completely different statements? Right? So I don't know. Y'all tell me. It's hard to. So now with the 40 first-hand whistleblowers, is it like a month from now you're going to ask him? He's like, well, I never said that. I said that, it makes me wonder. And again, 40 is a lot, y'all. 40 is a lot. Now, why doesn't he just say, I think some of them are going to come forward, hopefully all 40, something, you know what I mean? Something like that. Instead of, how many whistleblowers? 40. And he also indicates like that they're representing some of them. And then he's like, newparadigm.org. Your website is representing them? That's weird. Oh, you mean the organization, but you had to throw the .org, right? I don't know about that. I don't know. Anyway, that leads me to the next part, which is this. Okay? So, again, no judgment. I'm just curious. I don't have a college degree. I didn't go to college. I did go to college, but I didn't finish, and I didn't get a degree. I shouldn't say I went to college. I took some classes, and then I went a few times and then never showed up again because it just wasn't for me. I ended up going to a trade school, a radio school, and getting a radio certificate. I did that for a year. That was better to me because that was just full scale, like a full blown radio station, full working radio station that we worked for a year, during 9/11 actually. So I was on the radio during 9/11, like broadcasting what had happened. It was that year that I did it. But anyway, so I don't really know. I know that other sort of programs exist out there where you can get education. So I'm not knocking this. I'm just curious and asking questions, right? Because really, a certificate or a degree or something, really all you're getting it for is to help you get a job or a position, right, or something, right? Aside from that, it's more just, maybe you get street cred, or you tell someone you went to this university and they're like, oh, yeah, or in certain circles it gives you whatever or whatever, right? It helps you. It's recognized by their schools, right? I mean, but there are other institutions out there that offer some things that are just like, dude, you got a PhD in, online in 6 weeks from this, Arizona University or something like that, right? Like, so I don't know. I said that. I don't know if that's a real one or not. I don't know if they do that online. But anyway, this is kind of what this felt like to me, right? They just say academic certificate. So let's take a look at it here, right? And it says certificate in history, law, politics, and technology of unidentified anomalous phenomena. How are you going to have a history in that if they're just stories? Like, what evidence are you going to have to look at? Is it like religious history? This seems more like something like that, like religious studies, right? Where you go to like seminary, right? You learn about this stuff, these old texts and ancient texts. But you're not necessarily learning, I mean, you're assuming it's true, right? Or whatever, I guess that's part of what you study. But this, like, I guess you're just studying what has been made public, and you're not necessarily saying it's true or not, but you're just studying what's been out there. I don't know. That seems problematic a little bit to do this before it has been confirmed to the public that, this is real. But I don't know. The law of it, politics, technology, like, I don't know. So anyway, it says oversight, continuous collaboration and focus, public pressure for responsible disclosure. Well, clearly that's not what they're doing. They're going catastrophic disclosure. So I don't know what that means. Ethical framework. All beings had an inherent value and deserve to be treated with respect and dignity. I think they mean to say all beings have an inherent value. So that's... Am I wrong there? I hope I don't look stupid there, but I think that's what they mean. All beings have, because had, what I don't know. Spell check. So, the emergence and evolution of consciousness is a common and ongoing phenomenon. Yeah, I agree with that. And look, it would be interesting to sort of study this stuff and get certificates that, like, I get it. Okay. Again, this is going to be for each person to decide. And honestly, if you decide to do something and it helps you personally and takes you forward in life, then who cares? Right? And someone may look at this and go, dude, this is BS. Like, why would you do this? That's fine. But someone may look at it and go, you know what? I mean, it's a free country, man. You know, you do whatever you want. I personally think it's odd. I wouldn't do this myself, and I don't know how much, value I would give to someone who's like, well, I got a degree in, unidentified anomalous phenomena. I'd be like, from where? What are you talking about? I hope that's not going to make people like stand up like, I'm better than you because I got this certificate degree. I mean, what job are you getting? Are you going to show up at, the UAP program with this? Like, are you going to try to get into Lockheed with this? I don't know. Like, where does what job do you get from that? Like, where, you know what I mean? What job are you going to get? So right here, as part of our work on the issue of UFO/UAP phenomena and the existence of extraterrestrial life, our new Paradigm Institute, in partnership with Ubiquity University, is offering an academic certificate program in history, law, politics, and technology of unidentified anomalous phenomena that can be transferred to Ubiquity University. We're going to take a look at that website. For a graduate, master's, and or PhD degree in extraterrestrial studies. I don't get that. This is a groundbreaking partnership and marks the first academic degree program in extraterrestrial studies in the world. All these words are thrown around loosely, like academic, degree, program, in the world, right? Groundbreaking, partnership, pretty much everything, but this is so look, we're going to come back to this because, but here's the courses. Let's just get to that. Okay. I think they're like $300 or something a piece. But here's the courses. The facts, history, law, and politics of UAP with Daniel Sheehan. And it gives the dates when they are. So they're coming up. And so it's just basically Sheehan going over his personal involvement beginning in 1977. Right? So I don't know. You know what I would have called this? Masterclass. Why don't they just do a masterclass on UFOs instead of trying to like become this degree in this right? Like, you get more education from a masterclass than what they're offering here. Like, I think they should have just called it that, because this is going to hurt them. This is just not going to help the issue, man, at all. And right here, you've got UAP Worldview and Cosmology with Daniel Sheehan. Again, Daniel's a lawyer. So I get this one, history, law, and politics. Okay. But UAP Worldview and Cosmology, why is he teaching this course? Right? Discuss the cosmic implications of UAP with a lawyer? And then you've got right here, UAP and National Security State with Richard Dolan. Richard Dolan's a UFO historian and researcher. One, why is he not helping teach this other one over here? That, like, national security state. I don't know why they don't have former member of the government, right? But anyway, aliens agenda after disclosure with Richard Dolan. Again, a lot of this stuff is just going to be stuff they've said in podcasts and stuff, y'all. I don't know what different you're going to get from the books, the podcasts. Like, there's Zooms. Okay, that's what's happening here, y'all. As you get one Zoom with them, and then they give you 3 videos to watch. So basically, this is like a meet and greet, in my opinion. Trying to be nice here. Again, do what you want. Of course, free country. But again, I think they would have been better off calling this some sort of a master class, because then I think you'd have a lot more people actually signing up for it and be like, yeah, that sounds great. Let me learn about this stuff. I get, one-on-one time, not necessarily one-on-one time, but I get to be in the Zoom with so-and-so, and we're learning all together. But to call it this like degree and groundbreak, I mean, you're just going to lose so many people, man. And I like Richard Dolan. Love his podcast, love his stuff, love hearing him speak in any documentary or interview. Like, he's great. So, I get why he wants to do the course, brings in some revenue, gets to meet fans and guests and, in his mind, be a part of something that's groundbreaking and what, I get it. But again, I would have called it a masterclass and done it that way and just forget trying to get accreditation, right, from an actual university. It's going to lose credibility with a lot of people, right? So right here, academic certificate program. Our new Paradigm Institute is offering this academic certificate program with ubiquity in light of recent legislation by the U.S. Congress signed into law by President Biden in December 2023, mandating that all government agencies and government contracting corporations turn over all their UFO-related material and information to the National Archives of the Library of Congress with the specific intent to disseminate the information to the public. UFOs are now officially referred to as unidentified anomalous phenomena. The new legislation initiates a disclosure process to reveal to the world much of the information that has been concealed by the U.S. government and contracting defense aerospace corporations about the UFO, UAP phenomenon since 1945. So, anyway, I'm going to put a link to this. Y'all go check it out. But down here at the bottom, you've got right here, the Romero Institute is contracting here with the globally accredited Ubiquity University to carry MPI's New Paradigm Institute classes on their platform for credentials, BAs, MAs, and PhDs. Any income that accrues to MPI, New Paradigm Institute, from these classes will support the nonprofit work on behalf of the public. Okay. So, what is Ubiquity University? Right here. I've got the website. I'll put a link. You can find out about it. They have registered 300 plus degrees. They've been around for years, y'all. You can Google them and find out, like, just put Ubiquity University, like, is this real? That sort of thing. You're going to find a lot of interesting comments about it. But 300 degrees, like, that doesn't seem like a lot, right? And they basically get into, like, accreditation, like, the history of it, this, that. We started this, we did. There's the old system, and we're trying to, create a new system. And at the very end, they basically just tell you, there is no guarantee that your Ubiquity credential will get through their bureaucracy, meaning like other institutions. They may not recognize your degree, which means probably every major university will not recognize your degree or any job you go to get, right, at some place. Again, I don't know what job you're going to use this for. I don't know. I mean, it will be interesting to see on News Nation all of a sudden one day when someone's like, degree in extraterrestrial studies from Ubiquity University, or they're going to put the New Paradigm Institute. That's going to be interesting. So, Again, I'm going to put links to all of this. Go check it out for yourself. See what you think. I'm not judging. Again, I went to a trade school myself, so they're out there. But, you know, trade school, like, we're on-hand learning. Like, again, if they had an actual ET craft and bodies and you were there working, and that's different. That's what would be extraterrestrial studies. But this is just theory and speculation. Again, it's just stuff you're going to hear on podcasts and whatever. So, again, I would have said masterclass. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Again, about the 1st-Hand whistleblowers all coming forward this year, the catastrophic disclosure, right? Even the controlled narrative of David Grush and Ross Coulthart and how that it was all controlled, right? Getting out. Again, I found that interesting. And Daniel Sheehan's comments about the alien interview video. Was I wrong there? I'm pretty sure my ears are working. Those are two totally different comments. And again, this, program to study extraterrestrial beings or whatever. Again, teach their own. If somebody did this and they came to me and said, "Hey, Patrick, I'm taking these courses," I'd say, awesome. I'm not going to jump. I'm not going to, you effing idiot. Hey, man, it's your money. It's your life. You do what you want. Again, if you want to go out and do something and it helps your life, go for it. Forget everyone else. I'm just telling y'all my opinion. I'm sure y'all are going to tell me your opinion of my opinion and give me your opinion, right? Which is great. I don't mind. That's what the comment section is for a lot of the times. I find it because I put out a new video every day at the same time every day. Our comment section down below has become sort of like a town square in the UFO community, and it's sort of growing. It's growing every week. More and more and more and more people are coming, and I like that. I like that you can go through the comments and learn some stuff, and I see good conversations happening. See a little bit of everything, right? Because I don't delete any comments or hold anything back for review. There's no restrictions. I've lifted all that. I never had them really to begin with. It still will hold some comments for review, but I check that every day, and at the end of the day, and I don't know why it does it, because they'll be just like normal comments. So I don't know. But, just go at it, right? Have your conversations. Try to be as respectful as possible, right? Here, let me give you a specific example for that. So if I order a drink at a bar and that bartender then goes to give me the drink, right? And then throws the drink at me. It just falls all over, right? He gave me the drink. But how did he give it to me? Right? So remember that when you comment, you're trying to talk to somebody and have a conversation, right? Don't just throw the drink at them. How about handing them the drink? Right? It's all about how you hand the message off. So, and look, we're all guilty of getting a little hot sometimes and spicy. It happens. It's good days and bad days. So anyway, thank y'all for the support. Y'all are the real heroes, vetters. So thank y'all again for the increased support. We're trying to get to 10,000. We're almost there. And honestly, I owe it all to you. So thank y'all so much. Yeah, that's it, y'all. Tell me in the comments. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Again, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. I do not miss a day. As always, remember, vetters, every day's a gift. Peace.